Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared RAND. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Saturday, May 17, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. A question is always put forth by those seeking: how do I make real contact with the God source? How do I know if that connection is real? There does come a point in this life, or life in general, when the concept of God is no longer enough. We don't care for more ideas about God. We desire a real connection and conversation that's personal, tangible, and undeniable. Perhaps there's a part of each of us who wants proof that God is real. The longing we have to meet God isn't the problem here. It's actually a healthy signal, meaning that we are ripe and ready. The divine is already knocking, and the conversation you've been waiting lifetimes for begins the moment you're willing to answer. We are all craving a very close personal experience with someone who knows us intimately and deeply. It is in this sacred encounter that we can instantly bypass our ego trip and surrender completely into the very core of our being. You see, we're in communication with the God that we are 24/7. The point is that we aren't aware of that. And the mind is too small of a vessel or container to comprehend the fact that we are God, all of us. Within these bodies, so to speak, in the very core of our existence, is the pure consciousness, is the God. We call it the God on this planet. Other planetary system calls pure consciousness. There's many names that have been given throughout existence on what it is. Okay? Title it, or label it. And this is why we're in a spiritual evolution. Is everybody on this planet currently existing going to ascend? Are they going to move into this higher frequency of fifth density? No. Some civilizations are all on the same page, so they all go at once. Other civilizations like ours is multifaceted. So some do and some don't. Some will continue to reincarnate until they discover for themselves. And that's what this is all about. It's about discovering for yourself, determining for yourself that for you, you've chosen to go within and find the God that you are within that body. Okay? And it's a knowing, so we take steps in doing that. No one can force you to do it. Nobody. Nothing can force you to do it. You have got to want to do it with deep commitment. Not superficial where you do it a couple of times, forget it. Now, I've been meditating in the spiritual avenue for 50 years. And you kind of feel like you're scratching the surface. All the avenues and all of the interfaces that I have embraced and interacted with it's interesting because you think you're on the mark, right? And then you come across something else, and then you you either embrace it or you walk on by. Just let it go by. And then within yourself, you begin to discover that this isn't a complicated mess. A lot of people will look at it as a complicated mess. You know, it's too intricate. It's too detailed. It takes too much effort to comprehend, and you've got to learn this and learn that. And so they literally move themselves away from knowing the God that they are. And some of it's fear, some of it's fear-based through ego mind, that it's an unknown. It's an unknown for every one of us. We don't know what we're going to find within. You know, there's different things that we don't care to address about ourselves, or and on top of it, staying away from judgment on oneself, being gentle, kind, generous, and humble with oneself at all times, and realizing that this is not a race. It's not a race. It is a commitment to find your balance with the God that you are. Obviously, we're in these bodies. And I brought up before, we have amnesia. We don't remember past lives. We don't remember who and what we are, which is a huge challenge, because that's why we keep reincarnating over and over again. But is it really why we keep reincarnating? If we don't have retention, okay, so you have a life. You as a God come into the soul, and then you experience this life. Could be, who knows, 50, 100 years, whatever. And then you leave the body, but you have the memory of that life. It didn't, it wasn't disintegrated. The memory is still intact. But what happens is that you lose your memory. That's not natural. That is not natural, okay? But you lose your memory. So, then where are you? Well, it's like you wake up, you get a bump on the head, you wake up and you don't remember who you are. Pretty similar, right? You've seen depictions in situations. Maybe you know somebody who had a case of amnesia where they got a bump on the head, and probably usually in the frontal lobe area, where for a time being their memory pathways have been disturbed, so they don't remember. And you imagine waking up and not remembering who you are. That's pretty much close to what happens to us. We wake up and we don't remember who we are or who we were. So this is a redundancy, and it is nonsensical, makes no sense whatsoever. It's never really approached because of the fact that the religions on this planet are so numerous that it keeps us all artificially distracted, is what happens. And so we go into this life and we grab onto something. We want to believe in things, certain things. So this is why we immerse ourselves in different man-made religions, rather than immerse ourselves into ourselves. Learn about heart-mindedness. Learn about meditation. And there's so many kinds of meditations. It's absolutely befuddling that we have that many forms of meditation. Someone says, I don't like this meditation, I'll create this meditation, which is fine. Okay? Whatever works for you, works for you. But you do something simple, like these meditations are very easy, it's not complicated. Humankind complicates things. Everything's got to be complicated. Everything cannot be that easy. It has to be more complicated. We can't describe in a sentence something. We have to describe it in several hundred pages. So, we do have this longing because we gravitate towards, many times, that the God that we really are But we've been taught that the God is not within us, the God is outside of us. You look at Catholicism, you walk into a church, there's a crucifix there with a guy, right, with a crown of thorns in his head, blood going down, and a big gash in his side, and the look on his face is absolutely misery. Now you imagine that's been going on for a long time, 2,000 years. And so you imagine that you walk in there and you're a little kid and you see that. It's very disturbing. Very disturbing. But it's outside of you. See, all these things are outside of us. But that's the lie. The truth is everything is within us. We have been taught a lie about who and what we are. And some of us are so ingrained with it for so many generations that we're adamant about it. That, no, this God's not within me, it's God's somewhere else. Okay? Well, pure consciousness basically is everything. Pure consciousness is everything. We are everything. Blade of grass is everything. Tree is everything. We are everything. And also, we are nothing. So we have this, and we're given, what are we given when we enter these lives? Well, we could probably call it an artificial clean slate, that we're starting from scratch every single time. After a while, you begin to question it because you start realizing that something just isn't in line here. It's just, this isn't right. This should not be happening the way it's happening. It's because you can connect the dots to begin to comprehend what's going on. Is that this is a soul-trapped quadrant of the Milky Way galaxy. Soul-trapped. And there are beings that are orchestrating it and have been orchestrating it for, who knows, billions, trillions of years. And they're not doing it, well, there is a purpose. One of the purposes is to use our energy to power their equipment that does all this. And that's where the movie The Matrix came in. It was really Hollywoodized, but there are some pieces in there that are exact truth, where the souls are captured and used for energy to power the equipment that keeps us in this circle jerk, where we incarnate and then we leave and then we go to the other side and then we review things and then we decide to come back in, and all along, every single time, our memories are absolutely wiped. Okay? And that can become a dilemma as eons go by, because we should have access. And we should have had access in the very beginning. Okay, so you have a life, your first life. And you have retention, your retention factor is 100%. So you remember everything about that first life. And that determines whether, and see, here's where it happens. Now, if you cannot remember your past lives, which basically almost everybody does not, and you imagine how this would have been, where you remember, you review it, and then it determines whether or not you want to come back. Okay? But see, what's happened to us is that we don't remember thousands of lifetimes. Okay? And to unload all those lifetimes all at once onto each and every one of us would be disastrous, because we're still stuck in ego mind. So it's caused issues, future issues for us. And this is why, by going within and being in the now, practice being in the now all the time. At first, it's not too comfortable for people to do that, because it's innate. They want to be in yesterday and tomorrow. Okay? They want to be with the ego mind yesterday and tomorrow. that's where we all suffer, yesterday and tomorrow. We don't suffer in the now, right? We don't worry, we don't stress, we don't fear in the now, because it's not there. It's a giveaway, it's a complete giveaway to realize that it's in heart-mind to be in deep peace. It's in ego-mind to be totally stressed out. Now, most of us don't even know we're stressed out because we're so used to being stressed out. And that's kind of ironic, but it's true. We carry around stress all the time, but we don't know it because we've become so used to it, and we've acclimated ourselves to it, that a lot of us will say, oh, I'm not stressed. And the next thing you know, they're out of body from a heart attack or stroke or something. So, we look at this. This is a massive spiritual evolution for this species. It is massive. And when each of us slowly but surely begin to realize is that we're the ones creating and we're the ones manifesting. So everything happening on this planet is connected to us. Everything going on this planet, above it, below it, in it, is connected to us. We have manifested everything. We've created everything. And the dilemma is that we don't remember. We don't know. We don't know that we've created it, and we don't believe that we've created everything. Many of us will kind of shy away from that and say, well, no, that's not possible. What's really happening is that there's this force, and the force does it all. Well, you could say that because we're part of the force. It's just like in Star Wars, the force is everywhere. It's everything. And some of us recognize the force, right? And we begin to embrace it more and more. Others of us have the force. We all have the force. But because of our belief in ourselves, our trust in ourselves, and our faith in ourselves in this universe, it's depleted greatly. So we really don't embrace it. And we don't visit it much at all. And see, we're coming into a tremendous comprehension for many of us on this planet is that it's time to reunite with the God. Okay? It is. It's time to reunite with the God that we are. And not circle jerk it all the time and go into religion. And religion is not that fulfilling because it never answers your questions. And if it does answer your questions, you question those questions because they don't feel truthful. And some people don't know what to call it, right? There's just an endless amount, plethora of descriptions like God, universe, consciousness, higher self, great spirit, the divine, or simply life. But the big thing is your sincerity with yourself and your openness to connect with who and what you are. You can debate it with your ego mind forever, but you're God. You're pure consciousness. You're an omnipotently powerful being, supreme manifesting and abundant being that never dies. Okay? You go into the body to do what? To experience physical material life. That's it. It's not complicated. We go into the body to experience physical material life. Problem is that for so long we've never had a memory of it. Every single time we reincarnate, what are we doing? It's so redundant, it's ridiculous. Well, we go and reincarnate, 1,000 years later you're reincarnating, 10,000 years later you're reincarnating, 100,000, 300, 400,000, you're reincarnating, you have no memory of any of it. This keeps the soul trap going forever. Doesn't it? Keeps it going forever. And then on top of it, you've got a holographic generated universe. It's like Star Trek, like the holodeck, right? But much more advanced. and everything seems real, okay, to you while you're in the body. You don't know that the only thing that is real is your consciousness. That's it. Everything else is an illusion created by what? The mind. It's all created by the mind. And we don't have mastership over the mind. We're talking about embracing heart-mindedness, comprehending that, and then using heart-mindedness because it's much more powerful than ego mind. And you use heart-mindedness to master ego mind. So ego mind becomes your servant instead of you being its servant. That's the process. And, some people say, well, what is it? What is it that I am? Pure cosmic energy. You're a life force that's never ending. Period. You're a life force that's never ending. It's energy, condensed and assembled into a form which is a light ball, the best way to describe it. Okay? In that form, you don't smell, you don't taste, you don't love, you don't hate, you don't cry, you don't laugh, you don't do any of that stuff. You're pure, conformed energy. Okay? And in order for us to expand, what do? We experience. How are you going to learn? We're divine perfection. The pure consciousness is divine perfection. So we go to different levels of divine perfection. And we create, and as we create, we experience the creations. And doesn't it make sense that because we're not really aware of who and what we are truly, so that you can see how confusing it can get, because your memory's wiped every single time, and you don't have any recollection at all, and you can't make comparisons from past lives to help you with this life. It's absolute insanity. Okay? But we know the reason why it's done that way in this quadrant of the Milky Way galaxy, so that this soul-catching operation can continue forever. That's it. There's no underlying boogity involved there. That's what's going on with us and with Earth, this planet, that we incarnate into. And you can vibrate with that because you get to a comprehension where you go, that's it. It's not any big, huge thing. It's these creeps and this quadrant of the galaxy with their technologies controlling our cycles, wiping our memories endlessly where we don't have anything to go on. That's not going to be much longer. Because as we go into heart-mindedness, and we know what that is, because we've chosen to do that with a great commitment, we begin to learn about ourselves as the gods that we are. We begin to comprehend the fact that we can plug in to the great awareness anywhere at any time we choose, which is everything, which is all life forms. Trillions and trillions and trillions of gods that enter different forms of life to experience it. That's what we're all about. It's not complicated, okay? It isn't deep. It is what we do. What's the purpose? To experience. That's the purpose. So that we can create more through our experiences, such as we do with universes, such as we do with planetary systems, solar systems, pulsars, novas, supernovas, all these anomalies in the universe. Where does that all come from? collectively, which we call the collective consciousness, is where it all comes from. It's an endless ocean of great knowledge and experience that is accumulated and then processed through creation. And you can't, the numbers are endless. We have all connecting universes and all connecting universes and all connecting universes endlessly. We have multiple dimensions. We have parallel dimensions. We have parallel upon parallel upon parallel dimensions. It is endless. It is a constant expansion of creation. Because you have so many gods that are creating. You could be on a planet that has purple oceans and green skies, okay? Or the life forms on it are completely different than anything you've ever experienced before. But it's life. What is life, God? God's life. Life is God. This is a never-ending, great, majestic ocean of pure consciousness. And this is why I use the analogy that we're drops. We hold the essence of the ocean, this majestic ocean, this golden, white, pink, shimmering ocean, full of intense, tremendously powerful energies. And we hold that essence, each one of us, of that entire majestic ocean. And so when we fall into the ocean, we become the ocean. There's no separation at all. And the separation was created so that we could come into these bodies and experience, every one of us experience different kinds of lives. So everyone's different. There's different experiences, react, response, whatever. But we experience. And then we lose the memory of the experience. And we start all over again. What do you believe would happen, okay, that you could choose without influence, without being seduced, right, into a holodeck matrix, where you, with clear awareness, could say, you know, probably we would reincarnate here with memory of past life, because there's things that we always want to do that we haven't done. It would be a whole different existence without that memory loss. Wouldn't it? It really would. And so people say, well, how are we going to remember our past lives? When you go into heart-mindedness and you practice in heart-mindedness and you keep practicing and you stay in deep gratitude 24/7 and you meditate every day, that's why we do these meditations, and you find a comfortable position, you have no outside interference, you relax into your body, because it's the only way the body relaxes, by you relaxing into it. You're still as a statue, you focus on your natural breath rising and falling. That moves you into the now. That moves you into heart-mindedness, because in there, you don't have fear. All your fear is gone. All the mind chatter is gone. All the worry and all the stress is gone. You're in complete silence. Where is the God? The God is in that silence. The pure consciousness is in that silence. It's where it's at. And when you begin to embrace it, you begin to wake up more and more of the fact of saying, okay, so you leave, let's just say you leave the body, you're done with that life, but you know who and what you are. That's a huge difference. You know what the light is that comes after you. You know what it is. It's a trap. The light is a trap. You know why? People say, why would you say such a thing? Because you're the light. You're the light. Why would you go into the light when you are the light? It's a matrix trap. And we have all been seduced into this trap. It's not a negative. It's almost an epiphany that we're able to identify this and its formula and its purpose. That's huge. We know the purpose. What is the purpose? Purpose is to keep us in this soul trap so that we keep reincarnating without memory and we just endlessly. To power equipment that does it, that literally does it. Say the equipment functions to feed the equipment, to feed machinery, to keep this whole thing going. Isn't it just asinine that's been going on for so long? Why hasn't any other civilization decided to shut them down? It's so vast that the resources it would take are massive. So none of them bothered to do it. They just let it go on. Okay? Like, oh, I'm not going to pay attention to that. I'm just going to walk by. But it's the knowledge. It is what we experience and we begin to realize who and what we are so that we can initially engage in once and for all identifying with the God that we are, the pure consciousness, knowing that we are the light, knowing that we are omnipotently powerful, supreme, manifesting, abundant beings that never die. While we're in these bodies, we're super manifestors. When we're out of the bodies, we don't really need anything. See? We don't need clothes, and we don't need food, and we don't need water, and we don't need shelter. We don't need any of that stuff. Only when we go into material physical life, that stuff's there. For why? What reason? So we can experience it. That's it. That's the reason. So while we're in the physical form, we discover who and what we are. We master the ego mind. It becomes our servant, not our master. We master our thoughts so that we can send our thoughts through meditation, through the universe, with 100% confidence, faith, and trust in ourselves and the universe to manifest anything we want, whenever we want. Without conflicts, without worry, without stress, without fear, without hatred. See? Without insecurity. This is where we're going. And it just depends on when we choose to go. Nobody else decides, like I've said repeatedly. You are the one. It's all about you. It always has been about you, about who and what you are. Because you sure as heck aren't your name, you're not your body, you're not any of this stuff. That's all temporary. It's a temp stay. These bodies are temporary. We're in a temp stay. We come in as gods and pure consciousness, and we experience. We create for ourselves and we experience. We use the bodies as a conduit to manifest what we want in material physical life. That's it. We don't need thousands of pages to describe that. And then we come to full circle and we choose that I'm going to go into heart-mindedness. I'm going to practice doing it. I don't need to announce it to everybody. That's ego mind. All that matters is that I have chosen to do so. That's it. And that's what I'm going to do. And more of us get to the point where we decide to do that, not out of desperation. Maybe a little frustration. But we choose to do that. I'll tell you what, we have all ran the gambit on reincarnating into thousands of lifetimes. Period. And you get to a point where you start to say, I'm gonna do this, and this soul trap will disintegrate. The more of us that discover who and what we are while we're in these bodies, how this process works, how it is a facade to keep us in this circle jerk. And this is when we start to unwind it. Because we no longer go into the light when we leave these bodies. Because we know what that light is. It's a huge deception, masterfully engineered for billions of years, if not trillions. It's tricked us gods for a long, long, long time. It's not tricking us anymore because we're talking about it. We're communicating about it. We're not ignoring it. We're starting to embrace it, which is huge. This is why we're in a massive spiritual evolution on this planet in this now. Joining the meditation, I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. An easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, relaxed into your body. Focused on your breath rising and falling. Stop fighting with everyone and everything in your life today. Be totally relaxed and completely aware that there is a current of energy taking you down the river of this great existence. The body naturally knows how to find inner peace when you surrender and stop fighting this moment of your existence. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night and the following morning. We will return here Sunday, May 18, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, and purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on within you or outside of you. Open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.